This is for the maroons in the blue mountains of Jamaica. This is for all my Native American Moors of Turtle Island just minding their business in Canada until all this colonization bullshit. Ronnie! My bad, Auntie.
Chill. This is
for things to talk about as well. But let's start off with Taraji, man, because that news is circulating right now through the industry, and a lot of people can't believe it. They can't believe it.
Yeah, she was on a SiriusXM interview with a number of other actors and actresses, and she said some pretty crazy things. But I'm gonna play it and get you.
Are you thinking about it?
I'm just tired of working so hard, being gracious at what I do, getting paid a fraction of the cost. I'm tired of hearing my sisters say the same thing over and over. You get tired. I hear people go, you work a lot. Well, have to. The math ain't mathing. And when you start working a lot, you know, you have a team. Big bills come with what we do. We don't do this alone. The fact that we're up, there's a whole entire team behind us.
Yes.
They have to get paid. So when you hear someone saying, oh, such and such made $10 million, no, that's not, that didn't make it to their account. Know that off the top, Uncle Sam is getting 50%.
That's right.
Okay? So do the math. Now we have $5 million. Your team is getting 30% or whatever your team is off of what you grossed.
Sometimes
Not
more.
after what Uncle Sam took. Now do the math. So
You're tired.
I'm only human, and it seems every time I do something and I break another glass ceiling, when it's time to renegotiate, I'm at the bottom again, like I never did what I just did, and I'm just tired. I'm tired. I'm tired.
I get that.
It wears on you, you know? Because what does that mean? What is that telling me?
What is it telling me? Yeah. And what does it tell me? Yeah.
You know? And if I can't fight for them coming up behind me, then what the fuck am I doing? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Very emotional. Felt that, John. You know what I'm saying? What's your thoughts?
It's surprising, man, to see somebody as aged and acting as she is, as, you know, seasoned, I should say a better word, and acting, and watching her just the early 2000s, maybe even before that. And, you know, and one part of me is like, how you complaining? Like, I'm like, you complaining off of the, you know, you're getting this money. But at the end of the day, you got to understand the way she broke things down, and being in business and even being a high income earner is like, it's just not fair. Now, you can chop off the cost of your team and stuff like that. Okay, I'll concede to that. But having to get 50% up to the IRS, like, that's wild. And any way you look at it, and people will say you can't avoid that shit.
Nope.
You got to pay your taxes, and if you don't, you'll be in prison.
Yep.
That just is what it is. So, we in business, and you know, we make money, and sometimes you could be taxed from anywhere from 22 to 50%. So I believe exactly, you know, what she's talking about, man. I just think it's things are never how they appear. You know, a lot of these actors, even with the whole strike that was going through, people selling their homes. Selling cars and all types of whatever just to get back on top. Now it's just like the way the money works is like when you live in those type of lifestyles they're living, you got to keep that type of bread coming in. Yeah. You got to keep going. That's what she's trying to do. She's trying to go from 10 to 20 to 30. So now I can, you know, these margins can get bigger and bigger, so it's not as hard. But if you go into 10 and next time they come back and say, well, you know, shit is crazy now, so it's 3. That means you ain't, you know, you still got to chop that down with your team, and the IRS is still taking 50% of your money. So it's sad, man. It's a sad plight at the end of the day. But I always try to look at the bright side of things. At least you got the opportunity to, you know, be in that space. But the thing that pisses me off the most is the IRS part. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
That pisses me off the most. Like, why are you entitled to 50% of my bread? How? Why? Right? But yeah, that's how I feel about it.
It's such a harsh blow. You know, the thing is, for Taraji in particular, right? Because I've watched her journey, and I've listened to her do interviews and various things on acting and her beginnings. And she's from D.C., went to Howard, went to performing arts school in Howard, was trying to do like sitcoms and get into that game, got pregnant, in college, you know what I mean? So her grind was crazy. Her first real big break, obviously, what you said in the early 2000s, was Baby Boy. That's when we first kind of all seen Taraji. Even though she was on little shows here and there before that, Baby Boy was the main thing. And then she's done some pretty iconic movies and broken barriers as a black woman in this industry throughout her time. And then I look at the aspect of the acting itself. Such a rewarding type of profession to have, but at the same time, people don't really understand what goes into it. You're studying and you're learning to be a whole different person for about a half a year.
Yep.
Then after that, you're going into there, and creating a film is a grind like you could not imagine. You're doing a 5-minute scene that we get to enjoy on television takes 10, 12, 2, 3 days to execute sometimes. So it's a constant mental struggle. And imagine having to do an emotional scene where you're crying and pouring it all out 50, 60 straight times.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah,
it's an exhausting profession. It takes a lot out of you mentally. They deserve the money that they get, and then only for that to be ripped away from them. And then for her to say, I got to do this over and over and over and over again.
Right.
It takes a lot out of you. And what I've seen, not only from her, but from a lot of actors, a lot of musicians, they're getting tired, man.
Yeah.
And they're speaking out more than ever. This is an industry that's been doing this for a very long time, but it seems like for some reason or another, in 2023, we're hearing more of this. You know what I'm saying? We heard her partner on the show. I forgot what the show was called, but my man from The Best Man, who's my man that we just talked about a couple weeks ago. Damn, sorry, I don't tip
From The Best Man.
Yeah, light-skinned brother.
Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard.
Yeah.
They did the show together. We heard from him about how they treat it. People are growing increasingly tired of this industry. We see the strike. We see what's going on. The shit's unfair. And then just to top it off with the unfairness of the industry and then the taxes on top of that. And this ain't her first, like, that 50% isn't the only time she's going to get taxed.
Yeah.
Once tax season comes around, you got to file. That's another hit.
Yeah.
So it's like, goddamn, even if I'm living in LA, that's 2-3 racks off the jump I'm paying to live. Whether I'm living in a mansion, whether I'm living in the hood, it's going to cost me money just to live out there in general. So it's not all it's cracked up to be. I'm not saying turn away and be scared of living in that industry or working in that industry if you love doing it, but really pay attention to the lifestyle that you have outside of that, because it is not all it's cracked up to be. And the mansions and the cars and everything that we see and we lust over from these celebrities ain't all of what it appears to be. So I salute her for being transparent and being real about it. And it's a dirty fucking game, man. It really is.
Well, how much onus do you put on, like, these greedy directors and producers of the people that's making these movies that, you know, these movies are grossing 100 sometimes million, $300 million, and they're only breaking off 10. How much do you put on them?
It's not fair.
Right.
It's horrible.
Right.
Especially, and it was a piece on there that didn't get played, but when you talk about when she has the opportunity and the ability to make $10 million off a movie and then goes to renegotiate to where she can consistently make that, she's back to $200,000 or $300,000, as if she didn't put in the work to be able to deserve that type of money. So there's bias, there's racism, there's all kind of shit. When you look at a Robert Downey Jr., for example, right, who's a fucking brilliant actor.
Oh, yeah, great.
I don't take nothing away from this man. Is brilliant. But when you look at what he went through in his past, going to jail, doing all this stuff, all this extra shit, right, taking out the industry, and now he's demanded $25 million a film. You ain't getting here without $25 million a film, and he's deserving of it. When we talk about people that have done it the right way in this industry, gave you the right amount of blood, sweat, and tears, like a Taraji P. Henson, and she's talking about $200,000 or $300,000 for a film, it ain't right.
Yeah,
it's fucked up. And I'm glad they went on strike. I'm glad they went to try to fight for this, but at the same time, that strike came at a cost and a toll, and it hit the actors and the actresses far more than it hit the industry, man. It has to be a change. I don't know what else could be done.
Yeah.
But it isn't fair. Like, somebody on a lower level like me doing independent films is almost as more gratifying for me, understanding, like, okay, listen, this isn't going to be the way I make a living for the rest of my life. I'm going to have to do other things. But I can still enjoy doing films, get paid for it, and not have to stress about, damn, they done took $5 million away from me, and then I got to pay my team fucking 2.5, and I'm sitting here stuck with $3 million after I done worked my ass off for a year and a half of this movie. It just makes me sick, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, and hopefully, you know, it'll get better.
Yeah.
Out there in Hollywood, they'll give them a fair, because we always talking about, no matter what, whether it sometimes be sports, entertainment, even in the corporate office, it's always some type of exploitation. It seems going on. Now some people be like, man, how you complaining over getting 2.5? You don't understand what goes into it, like we just explained. If you getting 10, you want your 10.
Word.
You know what I mean? So, but
Period.
yeah.
Or even if you got to pay taxes, all right, I understand things got to get paid to take care of schools, roads, and things like that. Cool, but 50%?
That's a lot.
You taking half right off the jump, and then in February, March, April, when I file, I got to give you more?
Yeah.
Yo, it's not
fair.
right, bro. It's not. Land of the free, home of the brave, but it ain't free.
No, it ain't free.
It costs your ass a lot. You paying a hell of a toll to live up in America.
Yeah.
So it is what it
and
is.
the more
bro.
you make, the more they're going to take. It
crazy.
sucks. That's why, I mean, as much as I hate to say it, I see why brothers going to the underworld, the black market. And that has its negative effects too, because eventually you end up, losing, going to jail, paying lawyers and shit like that. But you like, fuck it. I'm not going to be working on it and just giving my money away. I'm going to make it underground, get it dirty, and I keep it all. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the ideology behind that. The system kind of breeds that type of activity because, because of taxation, but that's another topic.
Yeah, and then they talk about some of the million and billionaires, and we ain't going to name them now because y'all get sensitive and we start naming some of them, but how they, quote-unquote, cheat the system and don't have to pay taxes. It's a science to it.
Yeah.
And anybody that gets away with not having to pay them or getting away with doing it the right way, don't get mad at them. Study them and see how they doing it.
Yeah.
It's a whole different monopoly game out here that certain people know how to play, and it's not privy to everybody. And, man, it's just that IRS shit is the biggest gang in all of America is the IRS.
Yeah.
They coming to get their money.
Yeah. And they locking cats up left and right. You've seen a lot of celebrities.
Yep.
DMX, Wesley Snipes, Fat Joe.
Yep.
And we can go down the list. So, gotta pay him. Yeah. I want to talk about Kodak, your boy Kodak, man. After his December 7th arrest, from cocaine possession, among other things, he was found in the street of Plantation, Florida. He was behind the wheel, knocked out. The police said they found a white, chunky substance. They tested the substance, and they had a couple drugs in his car.